Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon. Martin, good afternoon. Welcome to Get ResponsLIVE, our weekly show about Power BI, data, Power Platform, you name it. Today in English, because we have a special guest from Australia, Martin Kratky. Welcome, Martin, to the show.
Hello everyone, great to be in your show, Jeroen.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And you are Group CEO at Acterys. I have to maybe practice my pronunciation, but I hope I say it correctly.
It was perfect.
Yeah? Okay. Oh, cool. And can you tell us a little bit? You're gonna tell a lot more about what Acterys does and the nice product it has, the nice solution on extended planning and analytics. But maybe you can also introduce yourself a little bit before we go into the content.
Absolutely. So I've worked in the planning and analytics industry for the last 20 years. As you probably can already hear, I have a bit of an accent. I'm originally from Europe, like yourself.
Yeah.
English is not my first language, but after 20 years in Australia, my Austrian accent is not as Arnold Schwarzenegger's. So we've worked with all the major planning tools and consolidation and analytics for a long time. And in 2015, we saw Power BI coming up and also the advent of cloud solutions. And we thought there's a better way than, the way we did things before. Projects in our space used to be very expensive, took a long time. And we saw the opportunity that you could use the analytics power of Power BI and add the typical planning, consolidation, forecasting, in general, business performance management functionality on that platform. And the other focus is because what used to be the biggest challenge in the projects prior to that was the data model in the ETL, as it was called then, extraction, transformation, and loading. So loading the data that's relevant for performance management planning into the model. Yeah. So we automate this entire process. So for the leading cloud solutions, we allow you to just really push a button, add, in our case, it's customers are using typical multiple of these systems. So they have, one NetSuite system, one Xero, one Dynamics, and they want to get on the one hand, the right data model, they want to get the reports, but also a consolidated view where they get a holistic picture of how is the organization doing across these entities. And these were financial solutions, but we do the same thing for marketing and CRM solutions as well.
Great. Yeah, and you're going to showcase some how that looks and how it works. But you also said in the beginning, before we started, we want to make it an interactive session. So people, if you watch, maybe say hello first. I already saw that Rishi was saying hello even before we started. So that is so very cool.
Rishi, good to see you.
Yeah, nice, Rishi, that you're watching. But if other people are watching, just say hello. We always like that. And just ask your questions, because that's cool. Martin, sometimes you're a little bit disappearing, but I think that's the green screen effect. But now it's okay again. But no, let's have a look. You have prepared something, so if you are okay, I'm gonna share now your screen. Oh yeah, before I forget, because as a weekly vlogger, I of course have to mention this. We are you can follow us maybe, and if you like our content, follow us on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and you can find us both there and subscribe if you like our content. So that's out of the way. I'm going to share your screen now and take us. You already introduced it a little bit, but how does that look like, your solution in view?
So I'll just have really three slides. I don't want to bore you with PowerPoint slides, but just to set the stage a little bit. So we cover two main business problems. On the one hand, efficiencies. So the way companies at the moment conducting planning, forecasting, reporting processes, where they in many cases still waste a lot of time with very complex spreadsheet-based solutions.
Yeah.
That are just not very effective. And the other thing, the business challenge that is getting even more relevant now than it used to be, with massive changes in energy prices, very dynamic environments, unfortunately, war situations in Europe, where companies really need to react very fast. So they want to test, okay, a 50% increase in energy price, what does that do to my bottom line? What can I do to address this? What are the outcomes if these things happen? So allowing them to proactively react to these things. And this is, from a business perspective, what we are focusing on.
Yeah.
And I will not go into this. But what we're aiming to do is that prior to our solutions, so these were silo solutions. We had one for planning, one for consolidation, one for data warehousing, one for dashboards, and so on. And we believe that's not very effective. You want to move all this to a unified platform, and the Microsoft ecosystem, I don't have to tell you guys anything, is the market leading solution here, offers more or less unlimited scalability, covers all the requirements, and is already in use in a lot of organizations. And this is what our customers like. So they don't want to implement another silo solution with a different database technology, very expensive consultants that they have to pay. They want to use the familiar environment, also the integration with productivity solutions, Outlook, Teams, and so on, and want to run these processes, these BPM processes, planning, forecasting, budgeting on that environment. And this is exactly what we do. So in the end, we help organizations to automate the data integration, where we have end-to-end solutions that give you all the data on an ongoing basis. It will automatically load, for example, the data every hour, every day, whatever the requirement is, into the central data store. In our case, that's typically Azure SQL, which we host. So our customers get it automatically, or they can use their own Azure environment. So we offer a hybrid solution that they can use their own Azure environment, or they can even use it on premise. So our solution works completely on premise as well, without the cloud, which we don't necessarily recommend, but particularly the large organizations, government departments, they still want on-premise solutions.
Yeah.
And then in the end, on the top, the users then get these capabilities, very advanced planning capabilities, forecasting, modeling, changing the model to their needs as a business user without being reliant on IT. And we offer this through 8 Power BI custom visuals that are all on Appsource, that are tested by Microsoft. They have been proven in very large organizations with, in some cases, thousands of users. And we have 2 Excel add-ins where you get the same capabilities, but in the familiar Excel environment. So all the benefits of Excel, the flexibility, but you work on a central data model and you work concurrently. So this is the key thing. So what we do is all focused on a real client-server model, where all the data ends up on a single place on a server, and the users can work concurrently. So there's other solutions out there that use visuals and then store the data in a visual, which is, in our opinion, not really a very good approach, because it's very limited what you can store there. And then the sharing is very difficult. So everything is in this one visual, and you can only use it through that. And if you want to share this information, you have to export it. The export, has all the issues of denormalized data.
Yeah. So basically, sorry to interrupt you, Martin, but basically it's a one-stop shop. It's a little bit of a buzzword, of course, but for larger organizations mostly, I think. Or is this also for smaller organizations?
No, it really varies. I mean, our claim to fame is that you can start with a single user for a very low price point, a few $10.
Okay.
But you can scale it to thousands of users still very cost effectively. So
what are your typical customers that are using this? Because is it used? You have global customers, you told me before. What are typical customers that are using this at the moment?
It completely varies. So we're really a little bit unique there, that we have customers, smaller companies, like, for example, accountants, that want to offer our product as a service to their customers. So they generate revenue by giving the customers an analytics solution on a particular, for example, accounting platform. Mm-hmm. And this is, something that is instantly available. So, okay, I have, I don't know, a company on NetSuite, a company on Xero, a company on whatever other accounting system we support, and they automatically, maybe this is interesting now if I show this, they then get to they click a button, add as many entities as they need. So here, for example, I have 4 companies that were added from these accounting systems that we support. And then they immediately have the insight. So they can say, okay, I want to just analyze a particular company, or I want to have the comprehensive overview of the entire organization. And they get this within minutes. So they get all these quite elaborate dashboards after a sign up. So we have a sign up where the users can sign up in 2 minutes. So we have a cloud-based software as a service application where you can get started, and then you just add your source system, whatever it is, and then you have a button there automatically that leads you to the Power BI environment. So you get the Power BI environment here already perfectly configured with all the relevant features, from the AI, from the interactive analysis, obviously. You see all the different parts that are typically involved: financial reporting, consolidation reports, cash journals, trial balances, balance sheet, and a variety of other things, perfectly configured, and all within a few minutes.
Yeah, that's very impressive that it goes so fast. So you have to configure the connectors once, and then you have this available in your environment. And does every user have to do that again, or is then from this point onwards you do it yourself in the Power BI environment? You give people access to this, or do you also have to give them access to the connector?
So you see here it automatically updates. So you can define I want to update my data from these different systems at a particular point in time, so every day, for example, and then it will automatically, the companies that you've added will automatically, the new data will be loaded.
All right.
And then on the reporting side, this is a normal Power BI file, so I can edit this file as any other Power BI thing. So we don't impose any restrictions on you. So you can add your own things. You can build your own reports. We just give you the data already in the perfect optimal format, which is typically not that easy. If you try to do this from scratch on your own, these are complex integrations. It's as great as Power BI is, but if you have API-based applications with complex authentication mechanisms, tokens, you have typically also very complex transformations involved. So if you want to get this to a single standard, if you want to do currency conversions, financial calendars, so all these things we provide out of the box, and they can also be maintained directly in the environment. So if I go here to, for example, admin, the users can then control all these application settings pretty much automatically without having to set all this up from scratch again, which is obviously a quite elaborate process that even in Power BI will take time, and it's not that simple. And here everything is perfectly configured. You just, okay, this is my financial year. These are the currencies that I want to use in my currency conversion, in my consolidation. And you can set them up very easily, and they will be automatically applied in the data model.
And is the data then stored in their own, you told about on-premise and Azure. How is that being configured then? So you have I see that you configure a connector, but
correct.
Where does this data then end up? Where is it then in the customer's own?
We want to make it as easy as possible for our customers. So we don't want them to worry about, do I have to get my Azure capacity, and how do I prepare my database and all this stuff. When they sign up for a subscription with us, we do all this for them. So we automatically provision the Azure environment. Everything gets automatically put in this environment. But if they want to, and in many cases, enterprise customers, so bigger companies, they want to control this. So we give them the option to just configure, if you want your own Azure environment, or if you want your own on-premise server, you just go into the tenant management and you say, okay, I don't want the Acterys Azure capacity. I want to use my own one.
All right.
This is what we call hybrid solution, and then everything gets stored in that data store.
And you as Acterys don't see the data then?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And we can even do things like our API needs to write back, but this can all be encrypted so that the customer has the key, has his own secret key that we don't know. So they can only decrypt it with their secret key, and even we don't have access to this data anymore. So this was in general over the last 6 months, we have invested crazy amounts into security, driven by customer demands as well. These large organizations we deal with, Puma,
Exactly.
Heineken, Department of Agriculture in the United States, they
Mhm.
have very, very stringent security requirements.
Yeah.
And we've invested a lot of money into making the
Yeah.
platform as secure as possible.
Yeah. Great that you succeeded. And you talked about write back, so because it's planning and analytics. So can you show us a little bit how the planning would work in your solution and how in the custom
Absolutely.
visual?
And I have, for my special podcast, I have even a world premiere, so something that I have even seen only half an hour ago. So I can show you something completely.
You're going to show us a premiere because I have.
There will be a world premiere what I can show you. Yeah, I've only seen this 20 minutes ago.
Oh, right. Are you going to show it now or later?
No, I will show it now.
Okay, then I have a stinger for that. It's called. One second, Martin.
Yep.
World premiere.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I already prepared for it.
Great. Cool.
Finally, you can use it again. Now,
Awesome.
Tell us. I'm curious.
So here you see a little bit, what the planning and write-back capabilities are, which are really quite unique. And I don't think there's anyone out there that has something similar. So here you see a planning screen. So I'm the admin here, so I get everything. Normally, as a normal user, you would only get the planning types where you have access to. So in my case, I have everything: the capacity planning, the capital expenditure, demand planning, drivers, ESG, HR, projects, and so on. And I can see the workflow stage. So I can see, okay, this is in progress, this has not been started. So as an admin, I have complete control. Where are we in our process? And can jump directly to the particular planning part from here. And I can also see, the collaboration around the topic. So I can see, okay, what have users commented on these things. And then jump to a particular topic. I do this now directly, for example, to driver-based planning, where we have now, a Power BI report, but this has now our custom visuals. So when you have a subscription with Acterys, you have access to 8 Power BI custom visuals. So you see them here. They cover a wide variety of planning scenarios. If you're interested, just you can go to Appsource, just type in Acterys, and then you'll see all the options. This ranges from the visuals to the application for particular systems that we've mentioned before.
Yeah.
And you just add these visuals like any other Power BI report. To set something up like this is super simple. So if you know Power BI, you can do this as well. So you have to.
So people can also try them out. These visuals in the Appsource, are they freely available? Or
yes, correct. So you can sign up. So we have an onboarding process. You sign up. So this is all like a proper cloud application. You sign up in 2 minutes. That will provision everything. We'll give you the Azure environment. We'll then also take you through the process. We have wizards. We have video trainings to make it as easy and as quick as possible for you to get started.
Cool.
And so then that allows you to build and set up your planning environment. So we either have best practice templates available. So you see here a lot of them that we have, from driver-based planning, project planning, sales planning, inventory planning, allocations, HR planning. I will not mention them all. If you're interested, check them out. So you can either start from scratch or with one of these template, respectively apps. So we also have apps for a particular use case. If you go to our website and we go to the resources, you see Acterys Rapid Results template. So these are apps for particular use cases, from public company, financial software, service analysis, procurement, and so on. So again, allowing you to start as quickly as possible.
Cool.
But if you want to start from scratch, you can build them like a Power BI report. You see it works the same way. You just put in, okay, what's the amount? So this is typically from the model that you want to use. In this case, it's my planning numbers. The comparison. So here I have a comparison number, which is the prior year units. And then I want to do this by calendar and have a drill down from year to month. And that's all it takes. So from that point onwards, the users can immediately go into edit mode and can then say, okay, I want to do my planning now. For example, I want to reduce this or increase this. with a lot of features. So I can lock this, for example, that the total stays constant, but I say, this is a bit of a peak here. I want to adjust this, and you can see all the other ones automatically adjust so that we still get to the same target.
Yeah.
I can do this on a percentage basis. So I can say I want to have 21% in March of my entire unit, and then do it that way. So a lot of options to do your planning here in a quite interesting visual planning way.
Yeah, and I don't see that
immediately
often.
the results. So I can immediately see, okay, if I change my quantity, what does this mean for sales? What does this mean for my gross margin?
Yeah.
And then equally, I can change all the other drivers. So I can say, okay, we have tariff changes, we have foreign exchange rate changes. At the moment, in a high inflation scenario, for example, I want to simulate if we increase our price to 600 until the end of the year, what are the implications? And all this will calculate in seconds. So this is the power of our engine. We have a parallel processing engine in the background, all based on SQL Server, that handles thousands of concurrent write-back requests simultaneously. So you can have 100 users working on this, and everyone will see, what are really the results at the moment. It's not limited to a single visual, but whatever front end you're using, if it's Power BI, Excel.
But this is written back to the Azure cloud.
Correct. This has been automatically
everyone who has this dashboard open. So if I've had this dashboard also open, I would also see your changes right away in my dashboard.
This is exactly right. So for example, if you log in now from our Excel add-in, so we have an Excel add-in as well, where you need to authenticate. So the authentication is always the same. It's your Microsoft Active Directory account that will give you certain rights. These rights is also set up in the modeler. So again, this is not something where you have to go through an IT degree, but we have wizards that allow you to set up the user rights, particularly around write back. So who is allowed to write back when, what, can all be very easily administrated by users. And this can either be simple, so I can say, okay, this user group can change the budget for a particular year, or this can be complex, where you have workflows. So if we look here, for example, we have not here, this is now really getting us to the world premiere. This is the new one. So this is a report for a typical financial plan.
Yeah,
it's a little bit more elaborate, where you can see one of our most widely used visuals, the matrix, which allows you to do things that you can't do in Power BI. So for example, we have a selective drill down. I can drill down from a quarter to a month, and only that. In Power BI, you always have to open the entire level. And so here you can do it selectively. So I just want to open up the cost of sales, but leave all the other things as they are. That's already nice feature to have, but obviously the key features are the write back features. So for example, if I want to change now my cost of sales and increase them by 10%, I can just do a right click here and say I want to have a relative increase of 10%, and this will automatically do the write back and write the data back into the system. So if I press the refresh button, this will automatically update this step that I've just made, the increase of 10%, but will also update all the underlying details. So all the, in this case, cost of sales account, I did this on a top level, have been automatically increased. And this is always a multidimensional model. So you have to take into account, this was potentially for a group of companies, this was for a group of cost centers, this was for a time aggregation. So it will do the write back properly across all these different dimensions.
So it will use the same distribution as before, but increase everything with 10% per customer, per organization, whatever other dimension. All right, nice. Now, Rishi is also very impressed. So he says, no, it's fantastic. Flexibility and agility of data input like Excel combined with the power and governance of Power BI. Yeah, it's indeed the best of both worlds. And if other people have questions or remarks or suggestions, can also be, let us know, because we are live, so you can put your questions live in LinkedIn and YouTube, and Martin can answer them. So what about so we talked about analytics, we talked about planning, and you showed us already the nice solutions it's working on. By the way, what are the key vendors that this is working on? Because you showed us a little bit the connectors section, but what are the most used data sources at your customers that are using this?
Yeah, so we have a lot of customers on cloud platforms, on accounting cloud platforms. For example, systems like NetSuite, Xero, QuickBooks, MYOB, many others.
Yeah.
But because for them, we can completely standardize it and really give them a solution within a few minutes. In the enterprise space, it's obviously a little bit more complicated. And for them, we have easy to use, and this is a bit of a world premiere as well. We have a new Acterys Hub environment where you can do the modeling of your and the loading of your data. If we don't have a connector, if you have a connector, obviously it's completely automated. But if you have a certain data source that we don't support out of the box, we have now a new hub that's similar to data flows, because it's also web-based, where you just set up, okay, this is my connection to a certain system that I want to use, for example, a database, Excel files, text files, SharePoint, other Power BI things, and you can build your models directly from there. So the models typically contain dimensions, so that specify your data model, and then we call them cube. But in the end, it all comes back to a relational table. So, which also brings me to a very current topic, that this will all work with Datamarts. So as soon as Datamarts allows programmability, which Microsoft promises me will be soon, we can deploy it automatically as a Power BI Datamart, and you have all the exciting features that we have directly in the Power BI Datamart.
Yeah, that's very coincidental that you say that, because Rishi was just asking about that, the Power BI Datamarts. But you need some further development of Datamarts before it can be used, is what you're saying?
Yes, because at the moment, Datamarts is very restricted. You can't even use views. Not to mention, we use quite advanced features from stored procedures. We have an API. We use triggers and a lot of other things. So as soon as these are available, then we will fully support Datamarts, and we're already in discussions with Microsoft to realize this and how to best realize this. But it will take a little bit of time, but it's definitely on the cards.
No, it's nice that you're also on top of these new developments, indeed, because it's constantly changing. So you're really in active relation with Microsoft to get the latest news, and maybe even earlier. That's interesting. So now that answers also your question, Rishi. Thank you for your question. What is another nice feature that customers often use from your solution?
So I want to show you something which is again a bit of a premiere. This is not total world premiere, because I already shown it in a webcast last week.
Dutch premiere.
With Kratos, Chris Wagner.
Yeah.
But this is also very new. So you see here, this is our reporting visual, which allows you to do typically financial reports in the easiest possible way. So you saw before, maybe I'll go back to this one. You saw before we had this this financial report. So where is it? Financial report here, where you see we have the typical IBCS visualization. So you have actuals, you have budgets, forecast, and then the variance. And here you can just click a button and it automatically switches between absolute variance, relative variance, and waterfall display. But most importantly, you can define your own calculations here. So I go now into edit mode, and then I can say I want to add a new row after that. This is the gross margin, and the gross margin is revenue. Let's take the revenue minus the expenses.
Yeah.
And you immediately have that calculation here.
Yeah.
And you can then format it in whatever way you want. So we have either predefined style, or you can use any format available and have these subtotal calculations that are very important in a financial report immediately available to you. So as opposed to using typically quite complex DAX measures, you have all this available just with a few mouse clicks. So this new calculation with all the formatting options, underlines, and percentage formatting, whatever it is. That's
it's interesting, because in the past months we have seen a couple of solutions that have this in visual calculations, And we also discussed it shortly with Jeroen de Heert, who's the Senior Program Manager for Power BI at Microsoft. We had him as a guest last month. And we asked him about it. Why is that not default in Power BI? That is in visual calculations. Well, he didn't share whether it will be coming, but he did say it's interesting.
It's a complex topic. It's not something you just develop in a short time frame.
No, I can imagine. It's a total different way of calculating. So yeah, but it's nice that it is also available here. And so you already mentioned it is IBCS. That's also for you an important standard to the way to visualize it. I think the only international standard there is, so it's good to have a standard. Cool. And what about because you see on the right hand side here comments, so you can also include comments on data points.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is all standard feature, and we support a lot of different options. Let me just go back to the to a report where it's already set up. So if we go back to this financial report here,
yeah.
So this works in a very similar fashion to how you work in Excel. You see, I already have a lot of green marks here. If I right click here and go to comment, I immediately see the comment here, and you see you have very sophisticated rich text formatting options here to enter these comments.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, as opposed to other visuals, this is all stored in the database, not in some visual where it's then only available in that visual.
Yeah.
So as that before, everything in our world is client server. So a standard central data model, and the visual will use whatever is in this data in the central data model, which makes it much more scalable, because we can store petabytes of, or we can work with petabytes of data sources, not just a few megabytes that can be stored in a visual.
Yeah.
And then also obviously,
so you can reuse. So you can reuse this. Oh, sorry, Martin. So
no,
we can.
No problem.
You're the other. It's still amazing, that you're the other side of the world, and we can talk to each other. But what did I want to say? Oh yeah, so you can reuse these comments also on other pages or in other visuals, right?
Correct.
Because you input it once, but you can reuse it any way you want.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a large benefit. So now it looks amazing. I think really you've built a nice solution over the years. Because when did you start building this for Power BI and Excel? What is your journey until now?
We had the first version in 2016. So I remember when we started, people were laughing at me, particularly our competition in the major FP&A players, saying, Power BI is a bit of a joke. It will never work. You can't use right back in Power BI. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
No, they're all not laughing anymore.
They stopped laughing. They shouldn't have laughed, because now they created you. Now that's nice. It's always good to go against the flow, right? So and you made an amazing product. And how many people are working on this product at your end? We go a little bit into the business side now of the.
So we have now over 1,000 organizations under management. So companies that where we provide them with these services.
Yeah.
And our team as Acterys, so we are growing at the moment 3 digits every year. So we're now 40 people across the world.
Nice.
But we also have, most importantly, a partner network. So we have now nearly 40 partners across the globe. And I would also invite all the attendees today to look at it, because what we can provide is, so they're typically used to selling consulting services. So you have to sell them again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here, you profit from packaged applications, and you generate revenues either by building your own app and then selling that on our platform. For example, as I mentioned, with the accounting groups, they're using this as a new revenue source. So they have a standardized app for a particular accounting system. They built this once, typically quite easy. Yeah. And then they sell it for a good price on an ongoing basis, and it's a nice revenue stream without having to do very much.
No, that's a nice model indeed, and it allows you to grow fast. And you yourself are located in Australia, And where are the other people? The other 40 people, are they all over the world?
Yeah, all over the world.
Nice.
It's embarrassing, but due to COVID, and I haven't even met most of them ever in person in my life. So most of them I've only met online.
Now we have the
all
same
over the
one.
world. We have development teams in India, in Ukraine, in Russia, in the US, in Croatia. We have an office in Europe, in Munich, so our European headquarters in Munich. We have a US headquarters in Chicago.
Nice.
So a very global company.
Yeah. I hope you can travel also sometimes to there and meet them in person, because they're all Chicago is also nice. Yeah. Now, thank you very much. If you have nothing more to show, I think we can wrap it up, because I see it in the Netherlands. It's still quite early, and like I said, normally we are at 4:00 in the afternoon. So I suggest we wrap it up. If you have any questions left, you can also put them in the comments afterwards, because this episode will be available on YouTube and LinkedIn on the Get ResponsLIVE. So we keep reading the comments, so no worries. And next week we are again at 4:00, and that's also going to be an interesting session because we're going to be talking about data flows. And I'm going to talk with Jesse and Ron. And Martin, you don't know this abbreviation NS, but it is our Dutch railway company, the National Railway Company in the Netherlands. And they are actively using data flows in all kinds of processes. So they're going to showcase what they do with it, what value it brings to them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they apply data flows. So thank you all. Thank you, Martin, for being here and for sharing the nice things that you do. Wishing you a great rest of the day, rest of the evening, and maybe see you next week. Bye-bye.
Awesome. I really appreciate you having me, Jeroen, and I'm looking forward to maybe chat another time.
Sure. Same here.
Or
okay.
Maybe meet in person even.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Rishi, the next session, unfortunately, is in Dutch again. So, I'll think about it. My English is also not the best, but normally we do it in Dutch. But I'll have a think about it. If more people want it in English, let me know. Maybe we change our minds. All right. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye,
Martin, stick around. Yeah.